Have you ever laid awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, replaying a betrayal in your mind? You imagine the perfect comeback, the exact words that would crush the person who hurt you. We've all been there. But here is the uncomfortable truth. That desire to get even is actually handing your enemy exactly what they want. What if the most devastating punishment wasn't a scream, but a whisper? Welcome back to INVICTUS X. Today, we are going to flip the script on how you handle disrespect. We are taught that if someone hits us, we must hit back harder to save our dignity. But the ancient Stoics knew something that modern psychology is just catching up to. Reaction is submission. When you explode in anger, you are essentially telling that person, "Congratulations, you own my emotions. You have the remote control to my state of mind." Think about it. The people who try to hurt you, whether it's a toxic ex, a jealous coworker, or a fake friend, are looking for fuel. They are emotional vampires. If you scream, you feed them. If you cry, you feed them. Even if you argue logically, you are validating their existence in your life. So how do you destroy someone's ego without lifting a finger? You become the void. The video we analyze touches on a profound concept. Indifference is the ultimate erasure. When you choose silence over scandal, you aren't just being the bigger person. You are becoming a mirror that reflects their failure back at them. I want you to visualize this. Imagine you are holding a rope and you are in a tug of war with this person. They are pulling hard, sweating, digging their heels in, waiting for you to pull back so the war can begin. But instead you just drop the rope. You turn around and walk away. What happens to them? They fall. They look foolish. They are left holding a rope that is attached to nothing. That is the power of indifference. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you refuse to pick up the rope, you deny them the one thing they crave most: significance. Let's make this concrete with a real-life scenario. I once knew a guy, let's call him Mark. Mark had a colleague who was obsessed with undermining him, stealing credit for his ideas, making passive-aggressive jokes in meetings, the whole works. Mark's initial instinct was to fight back, to send angry emails, to expose this guy. But Mark decided to try the Stoic approach. The next time the colleague made a snarky comment in a meeting, Mark didn't get angry. He didn't defend himself. He just looked at the guy for 2 seconds, completely blank-faced, and then turned to the boss and continued his presentation as if the guy hadn't spoken. It was brutal. The room went silent. The colleague turned bright red because his insult didn't land. It just evaporated in the air. Over the next few months, Mark treated this guy not as an enemy, but as a ghost. He was polite but brief. No small talk. No emotional reaction. The result? The colleague unraveled. He started trying harder to get a reaction, looking more and more desperate, until he eventually made a major mistake and got fired. Mark didn't have to do anything. His silence created a vacuum that the other guy filled with his own incompetence. This works because behind every attack is a desperate plea for attention. The person hurting you wants to be the main character in your movie. When you treat them with indifference, you relegate them to an extra in the background. Or worse, you cut their scene entirely. This is where the concept of the mental prison comes in. The original content highlights that disappearing without explanation is a form of silent torture. If you argue, they can defend themselves. If you accuse them, they can play the victim. But if you simply vanish, you leave them with no closure. They are left wondering, did I go too far? Does he not care at all? Was I that insignificant? You force them to sit alone in a room with their own behavior. As Seneca warned, do not argue with fools. Arguments are traps. When you walk away without a word, you leave the trap empty, and they are the ones caught in the mechanism. It is important to remember that this isn't just about strategy. It's about your soul. I was reading some insights on GLASP recently regarding Marcus Aurelius, and I found a quote that perfectly sums this up. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Think about the depth of that. If they lie and you lie back, you become them. If they scream and you scream back, you are just a reflection of their ugliness. By refusing to engage, you preserve your own nature. You are protecting your peace, not just punishing their ego. Another insight from GLASP notes that we should reject the sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. This is the hardest part. It means realizing that their insults are just noise. They only become hurt if you accept them as truth. If you don't accept the package, the mailman has to take it back. Finally, let's talk about the long game. The video mentions that your success is the ultimate humiliation. This is true, but let's add a nuance. Your happiness is the humiliation. The person who tried to break you expects you to be broken. They expect you to be bitter, posting sad quotes on social media, looking disheveled. When they see you glowing, evolving, and building a life that is better than the one you had with them, it destroys their narrative. They wanted to be your anchor, holding you down. Instead, you cut the chain and sailed away. You win quietly. You don't need to post about how happy you are. You just need to be happy. The energy you used to waste on anger is now invested in your growth. That is the harvest that time brings. So the next time someone tries to drag you into the mud, remember, you don't belong there. Don't get your hands dirty. Stand tall, look through them, and keep building your empire. Let your absence be their punishment, and your peace be your revenge. If you are ready to take back your power, I want you to comment the word untouchable down below. Share your story. Have you ever defeated a bully with silence? Let's talk about it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to INVICTUS X for more wisdom on mastering your mind. Until next time, stay stoic